Good blessed Throwback Thursday, January the 13th, 2022. Is at about 11:15 a.m. in the morning. I'd like to greet all human beings all around the world with a universal greetings of peace. And the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor your religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter whether you're the richest or the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter whether you're the proclaimed toughest or the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you're my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, or any nationality. It doesn't matter whether you're light-skinned or dark-skinned. It don't matter whether you like me or not. That's your prerogative. You have a first, 14th, and many other constitutional rights to think as you please. That's your prerogative. As long as you do it legally and peacefully. I don't do this for thumbs up nor thumbs down. I do this to educate and to enlighten. If you see the title of this big folder here, Carbondale Police Department, Bryan Lamar Johns death investigation. That's what they called it. If it was a death investigation, I wouldn't have this poster right here, Justice for Bryan Lamar Johns. Homicide, not suicide. If anybody that may not know, today make 300 days ago that my son, Bryan Lamar Johns, was found dead, hung, lynched on Friday, March the 19th, 2021. In the third floor hallway, hanging from a belt in the 400 block of North Oakland Street in the Gaslight Apartments. The police claim they did, the Carbondale, Illinois police claim they did a death investigation. This big old folder that you see, this is supposed to have been a death investigation. This here is a so-called PDF file of the death investigation. It's marked, I believe, from A through K. But when you go through it, that particular PDF file, you'll find that you won't be able to upload some things. So if you file for the Freedom of Information Act, try to make sure you get these DVDs that they sent, these CDs that they sent me. And most of them are actual videos. Some of my son, and some of them are the pictures of his hanging, which you more than likely won't see in that one PDF CD file. Telling y'all this for a reason. You see, I'm not an attorney, but I have common sense. I want to show y'all something else. I'm over here where the area, this is where I come feed the geese and the ducks. This is an area where a friend of mine was shot and killed right up under this thing that I'm up under now. He was found shot dead. They never got the person that did it. Y'all remember the last time I was doing some videos, we seen a white SUV like this up by the courthouse, the Mississippi County Courthouse. I believe it might have been on New Year's Day, a night. They kept on coming back and forward. Might not be the same one, but since I've been out here, that vehicle went down there and came down this way and then turned around. But you know, it's a free enterprise here. I'm out here. This is I-57, where you see that BJ Hunt white truck and these other three trucks moving. They moving north, southbound on I-57. That gray pickup and that white truck there is heading northbound on I-57. You see over across the street there, across the pond, you see my white ducks over there. You might see one or two geese here, one in the center. But this is what I want to tell y'all. I want you to pay close attention to this so-called, what they call death investigation, which they done closed it now. They ruled it suicide. Now, what they not saying in this here, that big old folder that you seen me just open, they closed this death investigation, gave it in some parts of the early part of September, not even in the whole week of September, the first few days of September. They allegedly closed it, according to the Jackson County prosecuting attorney. Jackson County, Illinois prosecuting attorney, he told me and two preachers, one from Marion, Illinois, and the other one from Florida, the state of Florida. He told all three of us that the Carbondale Police Department closed my son's case and gave it to him in his office. And he said when we met with him, he had it about 2 weeks. And that was on the 23rd of September, 2021. He didn't have much to say. He had already closed it. But he asked me if I want him to do something he was handing me a pencil and paper and said, you go find the person who you think killed your son and write it down on here. Then he told me, when I told him about the black individual who had been convicted of murder once before in drug-related cases, that him and his white wife, who works for the Carbondale, Illinois Rebound High School as a parent educator, they had my son's food stamp card while he was alive, and after he was dead, his wife was found spending my son's food stamp card 39 days after his death. I asked him, was he gonna prosecute that? And he asked me, do you want me to prosecute it? What prosecuting attorney asks you, do you want them to prosecute a crime, and that's their job? But let me tell you today, 300 days after my son's death, not only did they stop and said it was suicide, but they have yet, the police, Carbondale Police Department, and the the Jackson County, Illinois prosecuting attorney's office hasn't yet arrested or charged or prosecuted the black individual and his wife for spending my son's food stamp card. My son was getting $235 worth of food stamp and 95 cents worth of cash. And they told the police department that they was giving my son $95 a month, which if they was giving him $95 a month, anybody that know anything about basic mathematics they wasn't giving my son nothing. They was merely giving him his $95 and keeping his food stamps. But they told me, the husband told me a whole different thing. He told me he was giving my son about $35. He didn't know how much my son was getting because him and his wife had a lot of other people's food stamp card. The only one keep other people's food stamp card and have a collection of them is an evil individual that you call drug dealers. You see what I'm saying? That you call cowards. You got people that don't have no morals, misusing people that may have mental health issues, that may be homeless, and they misusing them. But the prosecuting attorney, he said, well, a lot of people use people's food stamp card. But let me tell you a secret about the black guy that been convicted of murder and drugs before. He suggested to me, because he claimed to be my son's friend, he suggested to me that he can give me the prosecuting attorney's phone number, cell phone number. This is before this investigation was on the way. And I told him I didn't want the prosecuting attorney's phone number. He said he might be able to help, but don't tell him I gave you the number. So we see it's a conflict of interest with the prosecuting attorney. You see what I'm saying? Because he's not even trying to prosecute these individuals, and that's a crime. You see what I'm saying? The United States Justice Department or the Illinois State Attorney General's office or the United States Attorney General office should step in on this like they did in Georgia with the prosecuting attorney in the Ahmaud Arbery case and plenty other black folks cases that the prosecuting attorney wasn't doing their job. And the police department wasn't doing their job. But let me tell you about this black individual that called himself my son's friend that had his food stamp card and said he was helping him. Once he seen that the police had went to his wife's job and asked her, do you think your husband killed Bryan over methamphetamine? He got scared and he called me. He reached out, and first he reached out for me in May after they done found his wife on camera spending my son's food stamp card and told me he was my son's friend. I kind of believed him at first. But then he showed me what type of friend he was. You see, since they caught his wife with the spending the stamp, he asked me did I want the food stamp card. But see, at the time, I didn't know the way him and his wife were misusing my son and other people that had food stamp card. And I told him, no, I didn't want it. But then, when the police questioned him, he told the police I reached out to the dad and offered him the food stamp card. But let me show you this here. He's so much a friend of my son's now. Now, my son is dead March the 19th, 2021. Him and his wife not only had his card then, but they had it in April to the end of April, still spending his food stamp card while he was dead. But yet he offered me a card after they done spent all of my son's stuff off of there. Money, got the money in food stamps, and he asked me did I want the card back, but he never asked me, do you want us to help pay for the funeral? Do you want us to give you the money that we normally give your son every month, which I would have declined it. But he didn't ask that. So what type of friend do y'all think he is? But let me tell you who he connected with. He connected with the administrators of What the F Carbondale, a white group, ran by an individual that ran for mayor, a 30-something-year-old white individual who lost the mayorship, who planned on running again, a 36-year-old white man that now is the president, the acting president of the Center for Empowerment and Justice in Carbondale, Illinois, that's supposed to be helping people like my son. that black guy be working hand in hand with them. You see what I'm saying? They tied with the NAACP in Carbondale, Illinois. And most of them women ran groups in Carbondale, Illinois. Black women ran groups. So how could my son get a fair investigation when he going up against a bunch of white supremacists and blacks that's being allowed to misuse other blacks and homeless people? Do y'all think that individual is my son's friend? He called himself a Muslim. And then his so-called friend, another black individual that called himself a Grand Sheik of the Moorish American, temple in Carbondale, Illinois. He know who I'm talking about. His Moorish American friend, that's the Sheik, said that he ain't did nothing wrong. It's the black Muslim's guy wife who's to blame. Then he said my son wasn't nothing but a drug addict or a crackhead. I gave him money before, and people said that he gave the money to the drug dealers. But the guy called himself a Grand Sheik. I know he don't like what I'm saying. He normally go up against a lot of people. Me and him had words in Carbondale, Illinois. And thank God some black people that witnessed it on Sycamore Street, North Sycamore Street, when I was making a video about his black friend that's a Muslim. And I believe this Moorish American Grand Sheik in this black guy that's a Muslim are still drug dealers working hand in hand with the Carbondale Police Department, hand in hand with the NAACP in Carbondale, Illinois, hand in hand with those that's black female that's running a lot of these black women programs. She know who I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? But I'm going to tell y'all this here. I ain't finna sit back and accept what y'all said. Now, let me show you how much investigation they did. I got it on tape when the chief of police on July the 13th, 2021 in City Hall in the city council meeting when me and my two daughters was there, when I told them about the chief and his police department not doing a thorough investigation. The chief got up there and said that they was waiting on the Illinois State Police reports to come back, in the coroner reports, in the pathologist report. I showed in August the 10th, almost a month later, that they wasn't waiting on the pathologist in the coroner's report because they had been ready since June the 16th for the pathologist and June the 23rd for the coroner's office. And let me show you, they closed, the prosecuting attorney in the police department closed the case before they got this. You know what this is? Let me show you in the inside what it is. Let me show you what the title of it said is. They hadn't even got this paperwork back yet. Do y'all see what that says? That say Illinois State Police Division of Forensic Science. They hadn't even got these papers back yet, and they closed the case. But yet they said they sent a few items. They didn't send everything. You see what I'm saying? But this paperwork wasn't even back before I got this. From the Carbondale Police Department. That's their death investigation. This is supposed to have been included in that death investigation. And it's a bunch of pages that make a whole lot of sense because the little that they did send to them, the state police laboratories found on that belt that my son got hung on, they found more than one characters on there, meaning it was more than my son's DNA on it. On the buckle, they found more than one characters on it, saying that my son's fingerprints and DNA wasn't the only ones on there. So how in the hell is you gonna close a death investigation without all information? I'm gonna tell you how they do it. Just like they doing a lot of other cases in there and people don't know how to speak up. People are scared to speak up because they got the Carbondale Police Department and the Carbondale or the Jackson County Coroner's Office, the prosecuting attorney's the Jackson County Coroner's Office and the Carbondale Jackson County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, the NAACP, which some of their members city councilmen, they voted the chief of police in. They working hand in hand with these drug dealers and these criminals in the streets. But y'all killed the wrong black man. Bryan Lamar Johns will get justice even if I leave this earth. You see what I'm saying? If I leave this earth, y'all seen with my 16-year-old daughter, she wasn't afraid to speak against you sellout blacks and you racist whites in Carbondale, Illinois. Y'all killed the wrong black man. And I'm going to be sure that they prosecute that black individual call himself a Muslim. I'm going to make sure they prosecute his white wife who working as a Carbondale, Illinois rebound high school a parent educator. The rebound school is for people that normally drop out and having problems. How is she going to be a parent educator when she's stealing from the dead? And she got 4 or 5 children that her and her husband, all of them in Miami, Disney World, and every place else celebrating on their vacation while we were struggling to bury my son. But they called him his friend. His friend didn't offer nothing but the card back after they spent all the money and got caught. But y'all ain't through. I ain't through with y'all yet. Help is on the way. Y'all see that? Help is on the way, y'all. Y'all see that? Help is on the way. Those of y'all who they covered up y'all family members' death and called them suicide in Carbondale, Illinois, God sent me there to wake up the people. You see that one geese that's by itself? That's the same way God sent Moses. That's the same way God sent David to Goliath. God sent me there to pave the way, not to point you in a direction, a particular direction, but lead the way. Peace be still.